as Christians, we are to be involved in the Great Commission. Every Christian, every disciple, every follower of Jesus is to obey the Great Commission. There are many ways, Quentin, to get engaged in God's mission in this world. And obviously, one of the ways that we all know is by going. Tell us more.
Well, I think that we can get involved in going in a variety of ways. One way is to go on a short-term mission trip to another place, and God can use that.
On this channel, we have expanded on that on another episode. Subscribe to this channel and keep following the videos. There is a wonderful short episode on short-term mission trips.
Okay, a second way is to get involved in what we call business as missions. So you would go to another place and maybe do work and be able to then engage the people. Like, for example,
so
legitimate businesses.
Google proof work.
Yeah. Like, I remember in certain closed countries, we would go and open a coffee shop, or we'd have a businessman go and open a coffee shop, and the shop was making money, but it also provided an opportunity to build relationships. Yes. Another individual that I knew in a closed country was making flutes, using the labor force there, but then exporting the product back, to other countries. So that's one way, a second way to do that. A third way would be to get involved in different aspects. For example, Doctors Without Borders is an opportunity for medical personnel to go to another country and to do medical work there.
And although Médecins Sans Frontières, like it's called, is not a Christian organization, but it provides an opportunity for healthcare workers to work.
So, for example, we had doctors in our church that went to Haiti. They've gone to other countries to engage in those opportunities.
What about going for long term? What we call the real deal. So
yeah, that would be another way too. You would maybe take the step of going on a short-term mission, but then that would lead to going on a long-term. And usually that requires some training, some preparation, even some fundraising to go. So that would be the long-term goal, would be to send long-term workers.
Yeah. So in a sense, Quentin, not all Christians are supposed to go. But in another way, every believer is to be involved in the Great Commission, not necessarily by going. However, we are all going in many ways. Like, Matthew 28:18-20, the Great Commission, the real imperative in the Great Commission is not go, it's rather disciple.
Yeah.
So it is, as you go, disciple. We are always on the go. Yes, there are some that are called to go further and go beyond and cross the borders and become, long-term cross-cultural missionaries. But we are all to be missionaries, wherever we are, in whichever capacity.
What we try to do is to train the people in the country that they're in to then start churches or to be involved. So we would go to train them or go to, help them get started.
Because they are way more effective, because they know the culture, they know the language, they are there.
Correct.
Yes, and by God's grace, we live in a generation where the Church of Jesus Christ is existent in many places that it wasn't there before. And thanks to, the open skies, we are able also to reach places through media that was never there before.
Correct.
Awesome. So final thing, going is a blessing, but some people don't have this opportunity to go. That doesn't mean that this would exempt them from the Great Commission.
Correct.
Because there are so many other things to do. So subscribe to the channel, know the different ways to serve in the Great Commission, but trust me, even if you don't go, you have a role, and it is very important. However, if God has called you to go, there are short-term mission opportunities and there are long-term mission work as well. One final word of caution that I want you to give, Quentin, about the hype of going without enough preparation, enough learning, enough character formation, enough personality training, enough cultural understanding. I think you're a missions pastor and you've heard tragic stories about missionaries going without enough preparation. So maybe you can give our viewers some word of caution regarding this.
What we do is we ask our people to get training before they go. So we might ask them to take the perspectives class, and then the organization that they go with would also vet them and have training for them as well. So it's really important that they take those steps to get trained before they go.
It's crucial.
It is.
It can make it or break it.
Correct.
Some people have the greatest zeal, but without enough training and preparation, it will turn into tragedy.
Yes.
Yeah. Brothers who are called to go, may the Lord bless you. We encourage you. We commend you, but please be well prepared. Go to the right people. Get involved in your church and get the right training. Many organizations now have a long vetting process. Don't lose heart. It is important because the better preparation on the front end, the longer you are in the mission field and the more fruitful by God's grace you will become. One afterthought. If I want to go, the airfare will not turn me into a missionary.
Correct.
Because people think like there's something something happens once I leave the airport into the mission field and I will turn into a missionary right away. This doesn't happen, right?
Right.
I am being prepared every time, all the time to...
In fact, what we say is if you're not involved in your community locally doing some mission work or doing some outreach work, when you get on the airplane, it's not going to change. So you need to be involved in local things, local missions, local outreaches before you go overseas and try to do the same thing.
Amen. So one final word of encouragement: get involved in whichever way you can and in the open doors that God opens before you, so that you are trained enough, you are being used enough, challenged enough, and sharpened enough before you go to a foreign land and get and do God's work and get the gospel to hostile settings. God bless you so much, and may the Lord use you in His mission.